On page 42 of the official SpongeBob SquarePants trivia book, author David Fain writes, SpongeBob was originally named SpongeBoy, but someone was already using that name, so the Y became a B. Published just 1 year after the cartoon's 1999 debut on Nickelodeon, this is the earliest public acknowledgement of SpongeBob's original name. And it wouldn't take long for Scholastic Book Fair goers to start asking, who is this someone the book mentions? Who is the original SpongeBoy? A quick Google search may lead you to believe Nickelodeon changed the name after discovering SpongeBoy was being used by a mop company. This quote-unquote fact is everywhere. Blogs, books, biographies, brand accounts. It's shared so much because it's a fun little story. But much like Mr. SquarePants, this story has holes. Dive deep enough and you'll discover some nautical nonsense. There is no SpongeBoy mop. No trademarks, no copyrights, no patents, nothing. So strap in and set your belts to Wumbo as we explore the mop urban legend and uncover the true identity of the original SpongeBoy.
With this mop, I shape my destiny.
From humble beginnings.
As far back as 2003, people were questioning the SpongeBoy name change. Patent and trademark attorney Eric Heels was unable to find a US federal trademark on SpongeBoy. And a foreign trademark preventing the green light doesn't make much sense. SpongeBob is still called SpongeBoy in some regions, like Iceland. The only public US copyright records for SpongeBoy were filed after the turn of the century, and when searching US patent records for SpongeBoy, we get nothing but a few false positives. The Chore Boy sponge is a handheld sponge that cleans hard-to-reach surfaces. Not sponsored. I could see this being confused for a mop. Maybe. And some ads for the Chore Boy are written in such a way that they read SpongeBoy. Kinda. Though following that logic, this 1998 advertisement for a SpongeBob scrub sponge might have caused Nick to have yet another go with the name. Okay, we desperately need some context. First off, we need to prove David Fain's claim that SpongeBob was originally named SpongeBoy. Well, for starters, he worked on the show season 1, but we can do better. In 2002, the first SpongeBob DVD released. Included as a bonus feature was a behind-the-scenes featurette with writer and storyboard artist Jay Lender.
In the very beginning, SpongeBob was called SpongeBoy, but I think they found out that someone else was using the name. There was another character named SpongeBoy, so they had to change it to SpongeBob, and for about a minute and a half, everyone was very upset about that, and then they realized SpongeBob is better.
So a product and a character? We'll keep that in mind. If we needed any more proof that SpongeBob's original name was SpongeBoy, we can turn to creator Steven Hillenburg's original pitch Bible. Completed in 1997, SpongeBoy Ahoy is what Hillenburg first presented to Nickelodeon when pitching what would ultimately become SpongeBob SquarePants. This book is full of unseen artwork and prototype story ideas. It's well worth a read, linked in the description. You may have noticed none of these materials mention the mop. Well, the mop story is viral, so let's check some websites. When discussing the mop, the SpongeBob Fan Wiki cites the Mental Floss article, 14 Things You May Not Have Known About SpongeBob SquarePants. Coming in at number 2 on the list, the mop fact is attributed to a 2009 blog post on Neatorama, which doesn't have any references. Not so neat. Elsewhere on the wiki, you can find the SpongeBoy mop sourced to Banks 2004, page 31. This refers to the book SpongeBob Exposed, The Insider's Guide to SpongeBob SquarePants. This is not a good reference. The book flat out doesn't mention the mop. It simply reiterates what David Fain said in his trivia book. I also checked the 20th anniversary re-release just in case. Nothing. On the other hand, we have the SpongeBob SquarePants Wikipedia article. It mentions the SpongeBoy mop, referring to a 2006 interview with Tom Kenny, the voice of the titular character.
Yeah, originally SpongeBob, when we started to do the 7-minute pilot way back in 1997, he was originally called SpongeBoy. After we had recorded the 7-minute pilot with SpongeBoy and everybody calling him SpongeBoy and him referring to himself as SpongeBoy, the legal department found out that there was some kind of a product, like a mop or something, and they had to change it. So SpongeBob was kind of Steve's last-minute fix.
Finally, something of substance, and from a primary source, but fan sites and forums were talking about the mop years prior to the interview. There's gotta be something earlier. Newspaper archives yield the occasional result for SpongeBoy, but never in the context of a tangible product. In 1996, Tampa, Florida saw the theatrical production Who Soaked SpongeBoy? A comedy for all ages, you'll be hard-pressed to find a review, let alone a synopsis of this play. Time to break out Oh Reliable. The mystical mop is mentioned in the 2004 book, The Magic Behind the Voices, a who's who of cartoon voice actors.
After they already recorded the pilots, the legal department discovered that there was a commonly sold floor mop of the same name, and the character was quickly rechristened with only a slight variation, to have as little impact as possible on the production already in progress.
That text was derived from a 2003 lecture at Harper College, presented by Tom Kenny. Going back further to May 2002, and I believe I found the earliest recorded mention of the SpongeBoy mop. It comes from journalist Mark McGuire's press release for the then-upcoming SpongeBob special, Party Pooper Pants.
SpongeBob, whose name was changed before its July 1999 debut because there was a mop named SpongeBoy, is the top-rated program among youths for Nickelodeon. If a household cleaning product can become a TV star, then raccoon coats can certainly make a comeback.
The press release is an interview with, you guessed it, Tom Kenny, the only consistency in this tangled situation. If anyone would have more information on the mop, it would be Kenny. Unfortunately, asking the celebrity about a 25-year-old cleaning product is no easy task, no surprises there. While I couldn't get a response from Kenny, I got the next best thing.
Hey, I doubt it!
Responses from several Season 1 crew members. These guys were working on the show back when it was still named SpongeBoy Ahoy. They were able to recall the name change and provided some fun anecdotes, but whether or not a mop was the catalyst, that's lost to time. Enter Eric Weiss. Eric worked on the first 5 seasons of SpongeBob SquarePants, and the information he provided blew my findings out of the water.
I don't think it was a mop, but I'm not positive about that. Whenever it was, the legal team didn't want to take any chances. It was on the East Coast somewhere. By the way, I distinctly remember the conversation when the legal department told me. Steve Hillenburg and Derek Dryman invited me to the editing room to see the latest animation. It wasn't until I saw the name tag shot where it says, Employee SpongeBob. That's when I asked about the name change, and that's when Steve and Derek told me. It was meant to be. It's so much funnier.
First off, thank you, Mr. Weiss. Second, wow, okay, that's a lot to unpack. It just goes to show the power of asking questions. With this fresh perspective and some new terms to Google, like East Coast, I was able to crack the case surprisingly quickly. After a few misleads, like this SpongeBoy nail file being resold by East Coast Bargains. But with only a finite number of links to click, it was only a matter of time until I stumbled upon the real SpongeBoy. Now, I want to give Tom Kenny and any others the benefit of the doubt. I don't think the mop rhetoric was spread with ill intentions. Chalk it up as misremembering, or a legal department red herring, or just an easier to explain story. Because the original SpongeBoy was not a mop. It was not a cleaning product. It was a pencil. In 1992, New Jersey-based pencil manufacturer Pentec launched a series of pencils called Cool Art. The goal? Create something trendy. Coordinated by legendary illustrator Lou Brooks, over a dozen artists were brought on board to design 18 products. The 11th Cool Art pencil was entitled SpongeBoy. The product packaging depicts cartoonist Kevin Pope's original character about to jump into a pool. One can only imagine the hijinks the swimmers are about. Hey, wait a second, we've seen this before. Debuting in a newspaper comic back in 1987, Kevin Pope's SpongeBoy is, with near certainty, the reason SpongeBob's name is what we know it as today. While this SpongeBoy wasn't trademarked, Cool Art was, and one can see why the Nickelodeon legal team wouldn't want to take their chances with possible copyright infringement. This was a real product with a real barcode sold in real stores. Looks like raccoon coats are not making a comeback. To conclude this little mystery, I really wanted to get my hands on a SpongeBoy pencil. It just wasn't happening. These things are hard to come by. However, I was able to find Cool Art number 6, illustrated by John Sayles. So, meet Leadhead, a distant cousin of Kevin Pope's SpongeBoy. After the Cool Art line of products, Pentec would have a few more good years, securing sports contracts with the NBA, NFL, and NHL. Eventually, profits would suffer, and Pentec would be acquired by Jakks Pacific in 2000. They're still around in some capacity today, even coming full circle, or square, releasing official SpongeBob SquarePants pencils. The Pentec SpongeBoy wasn't the only SpongeBoy around in 90s America. There was an experimental musician called SpongeBoy, who would later go on to form Handsome Rodney, an art rock and noise band. According to Eric Weiss, the SpongeBoy musician was another reason the Nickelodeon legal department was apprehensive about using the SpongeBoy name. But perhaps most notably, and most often cited alongside the mop, there's the Flaming Carrot, a superhero created by Bob Burden in 1979. Having read 5,000 comics in a single sitting to win a bet, a poor man suffered brain damage and turned into the Flaming Carrot. This superhero was Burden's blue-collar response to the elitist, perfection-oriented superheroes of the time. The Flaming Carrot is mediocre. The Flaming Carrot is a carrot. One of the superhero's best friends is named SpongeBoy.
Hi, how are you?
SpongeBoy made his debut in the 1984 Anaglyph 3D comic, The Bandit Moons. My copy didn't come with the 3D glasses. Luckily, I had my Spy Kids pair oddly close.
Oh no, they're back again!
Get under cover!
The
sky
hook! Run for it, SpongeBoy!
No, no, no!
They got SpongeBoy!
I'm coming, SpongeBoy! Hold on, little buddy.
Ah!
Give back, you floating moon goons!
They got him! On his birthday, too.
What did I tell you about those hooks, boy?
We wouldn't hear from poor SpongeBoy for 3 more years, in a crossover featuring the Flaming Carrot and another famous satirical comic, Cerebus the Aardvark. In This Flame, This Carrot, the two find themselves in a tall, dark tower. The only light source is the carrot's flaming head.
And now, von abridged reading of Cerebus 104, Dies Flame, Dies Carrot.
You're here. We must hurry now. It's a long way to the top. How far is it? About 230,000 miles. What? It's okay. We'll take the shortcut. Shortcut? What kind of a... Shh. How did you get up here? Let's just say I get around. Onward! Hold it. Whoa. Look. Cerebus doesn't know who you are. Cerebus doesn't know what you're doing in the Black Tower. Tower? I thought it was a department store. Cerebus doesn't care who you are. Cerebus doesn't care what you're doing in the Black Tower. And Cerebus can't see a reason Cerebus would need your help. So, hey, Now you tell me, which way is top and which way is bottom? See? You need me, like Skipper needs Gilligan. Follow closely. Okay. So where's this darn shortcut you keep talking about? We will know it when we see it. We must not be fooled by side tunnels pretending to be shortcuts. They are roads to nowhere. How can you tell the difference? There is only one way to...
Whee!
Look, it's SpongeBoy. SpongeBoy? SpongeBoy here was kidnapped on his birthday by the Bandit Moons. What were you saying about the shortcut? Aside from the Bandit Moons, how was your birthday?
It was a most peculiar and incredible adventure.
Something about side tunnels? Feel that? We must hold tight now. Ah! Told you so. I have to take SpongeBoy back down. He is too young to return by himself. What about the... Wait! Hold tight, SpongeBoy. Wait! What about the... shortcut?
Burden's SpongeBoy would later appear alongside Bill Clinton in 1997's annual number 1. This was released around the time of the SpongeBob name change, though Eric Weiss did not recall the Flaming Carrot coming up in conversation. Burden's SpongeBoy would make his final appearance in 2004. In a scene too bizarre and amazing to spoil, a photorealistic SpongeBoy and Flaming Carrot cross paths. You can find claims online that Nickelodeon chose SpongeBob to pay tribute to Bob Burden's SpongeBoy, but that's a load of barnacles. Stephen Hillenburg conceptualized Bob the Sponge in his educational comic The Intertidal Zone, back in 1984 when he was a marine biologist.
Originally, he was named SpongeBoy. You know, you take an inanimate object like apple and you put the word boy on it, Apple Boy, and it becomes alive. But SpongeBoy was trademarked by someone, so I decided on an alternate, SpongeBob, like Billy Bob. I felt it was important to have his first name be Sponge, so that when you looked at him, you would not think, cheese, man.
The children's TV series has continuously embraced the character's roots as SpongeBoy over the past 2.5 decades. There's Mr. Krabs' famous line,
SpongeBob! Gimme Bob!
SpongeBoy is the name of the official SpongeBob title card font, and you can even spot a picture of Hillenburg's original SpongeBoy in the third SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run. If you want to try your hand at locating the SpongeBoy pencil, or just discuss the mop situation in general, I've linked a Lost Media wiki thread in the description. So there we have it. The mop was actually a pencil. At the end of the day, does it really make a difference? Sure, a pencil may not look anything like a mop, but tell me, does this ice cream look anything like SpongeBob?